Welcome back. So in the next couple of lessons, we're going to convert this guy, the face right here, not me, but the picture right here, we're going to convert that so we can actually drag a new picture in here, drop it, and then it will be uploaded to our Firebase file storage up here. That's going to be the goal. Now, the first thing you should notice is I'm going to split this up into multiple tasks because this doesn't sound like an easy task to handle, but if we're good at splitting things up, it's a lot easier to take care of this. The first thing we want to do is kind of make what we call a directive. Now that's also a good chance for us to play around with directives. It pretty much just means that I can start manipulating and listening for events on this specific image right here. Now it's pretty much the same as saying I want to now when I drag stuff over this guy, I want to be able to hear it or feel it and do something, make an event, right? And I can also say when I drop something, I want to kind of get the thing I'm dropping and do something with that. And also when I'm leaving, this drag right here is going to get the image back as it looks right now. So we're going to make some kind of functionality right there. We're also going to try and have some kind of hover effect when we kind of drag over here to kind of show that right now you can drop something, and when you're getting out you can not drop anything anymore, right? So that's kind of the goal of the next lessons. The first step we're going to do is add a directive this lesson just to kind of hook this up and kind of explain to you how cool directives actually are. So jumping into the code right here, I'm going to start out by adding a directive right here. So what I'm going to do is I want to add a directive. Now, just to kind of demystify directives right away, this is actually a directive, right? Your ng4, if you're using that, that's a directive. So there's already a lot of directives you're already using that you don't know. This is a directive. So it's already out there, right? You just didn't try to make one yourself before, probably. So that's what we're going to do now. Now I want to put the directive inside the shared folder under a folder called directives. So that's what we're going to do right here. So the first thing I want to do is ng generate and then a directive, right? Now the directive is, as I said, going to be under the shared folder, and it's going to be under the directives, which I'm going to start making here. If we need more directives, they're all going to be put in this folder. And I want the directive to be called upload, because I can probably reuse it for other types of upload. Right now it's going to be an image, but I can probably also use it for different upload types. So let's just call it upload for now at least. So let's just press enter right here. It's going to generate two files, the directive and the directive spec file, and then it's going to kind of add it to the shared module right here. So now we have the directive inside the shared module as a declaration. Now I made a mistake earlier today where I kind of figured out that I'm going to need the directive outside of the shared folder. So I'm going to need to export it, so I might as well just do that right now to be able to use it. Now the reason is that I'm going to need the selector inside this directive. And what does that mean? Let's try and jump into the directory we just created right here. I need this guy. I need to use the selector name right here to kind of work with the directive. And to do that, you need to do an export. So as soon as you want to kind of start using the selectors in your classes, you're going to need to export them. I had a similar problem earlier where I wanted to use, I can't remember quite where it was, but I wanted to use something outside my module. I think it was the icon, right? Now the icon was a component, or was a component like this, but it still needs to be exported, right? Because the icon I'm also using, notice right here, I'm using the selector to kind of work with this in other components. That's kind of why you need, whenever you need to use the selector somewhere else, you're going to need to do an export and a declaration. Now, when do you not need to do the export? Well, for a component, a standalone component like this guy, the albums list component, which is only going to be used in the router. I will never use in this setup right here. I'm not going to end up using this FPA albums list, right? Never. I'll use this. This is just to kind of create my component right here. So I know this gets a bit complex now maybe, but I just want to kind of explain. You need to kind of remember to do these exports right here to kind of share directives with other modules, right? That's kind of what you need to remember. So if you can't find your directive in the module, you might not even get an error. It just won't work. So then go in and check, did I remember to export this? Right, so that's out of the way now. Phew, very big, heavy load on my shoulders off. So what else is there to see? Well, I also want to kind of this lesson try and show you the directive right now, because it's a pretty simple thing right now. It looks a lot like a component. We have a constructor, and we have, instead of a component, we're using a directive. Now we will expand this in the next couple of lessons, so don't worry about it. But one thing right here you'll notice is that I'm getting an error. Now this error is actually just tslint saying to me, normally when we make directives, you told me that you wanted to prefix them with app. So we fixed this for components. Remember, we also had this issue for components at some point. where it kind of said you cannot prefix your component with FPA. Let's just fix that as well in this lesson. So jumping down to the tslint file, all the way down here, and there I'm going to just find app. There we go. Now inside my directive selector, just like I had in the component selector, it says I expect that your directives is called app something. So prefixed with app. But now I want them to be called FPA something. That's all I had to do. Now this will actually be fixed. So it'll remove that error and everything's running. And now I can call my directives FPA, which is my namespace, and then the name of the directive. Sweet. So now we have a directive. Congratulations. We are not using the directive at all yet, but it's created. So next lesson we'll try and use it. See you next time.